This video is sponsored by Surfshark. This phone was already very impressive on launch, and it got my instant recommendation because it did a lot of what I think a phone of this price should really do, and even a little bit more. But about 6 months later, this already easily recommendable phone makes more sense now and explains some of its oddities. So let's talk about that. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas and I am a fan of the Pixel 9a. It is affordable, it has a really solid set of cameras, the best battery life experience in a Pixel smartphone, and is almost brutalist in its design language. But I think with the Pixel 10 series now available in many regions, the 9a stands out for its exceptional value for money. I mean, it might be a bit on the nose, but the fact that this is already £100 off here in the UK on the official Google store, I've heard of people getting even better deals than that worldwide, clearly makes this device that you should be able to get relatively cut down a pretty good deal right now. The 9a is half the price of the Pixel 10 as it stands, and I don't think it's half the phone. What's almost become a staple of a mobile phone toolkit these days has to be a VPN. And not only does Surfshark work on our beloved Android, but also macOS, iOS, Windows and more, Surfshark lets you activate on unlimited devices and access servers across 100 locations worldwide. It not only allows you to secure your connection via tunneling your traffic, but it also lets you use websites that are typically geo-locked or even access content that's only available on other versions of services like Netflix. Or if you're a Premier League fan like me, being able to go on holiday and log into the normal services you typically watch the game on is so easy with Surfshark. There are different plans to suit your use case, so check out the link in the video description to see what works best for you and to get Surfshark for yourself. And a big thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring today's content. For starters, the 9a uses the same primary and ultra-wide camera as the much more expensive Pixel 10. The selfie camera is slightly different, and as is the case with the new phones, the 6-month-old A series is more than capable of capturing really good photos and videos. Much better than its price tag would suggest given the competition. I think pixel colors and contrast are really natural, but of course it's not just this. The point and shoot reliability, particularly with motion, is something that Pixels are known for, and it's no different with the cut down model either. And if the fact that you're getting more or less the same photo quality as a device double the cost should really tell you all you need to know about this phone. It feels like a better deal now than it really ever has done. And that goes for the whole Pixel 9a situation. The bright screen, the solid performance, the up to 2 days battery life, the whole thing. After using the Pixel 10, this phone feels like a brilliant deal. The Tensor G5 hasn't really felt like a truly groundbreaking upgrade, the one that I think many of us actually wanted to happen. And with that in mind, the G4 that is in the Pixel 9a, it feels as fast as responsive as it realistically needs to, at least if we're comparing to models inside of Google's Pixel line. Because this certainly gives you the Pixel experience. You know, beyond Android 16's fancy design, you have access to the aforementioned cameras, heaps of modes and features. The 9a is due another 6.5 years of software updates, taking it into 2032. Gemini is still big and present here, even if it's not the full fat model, because the other phones that run more RAM are able to run larger models locally. Stuff like Pixel Studio is still here though, which some might like. It's a bit of a gimmick to me, but that doesn't mean that everyone's gonna hate it. And there's plenty to do here with this phone in regards to camera software. I know the sheer hardware design might not be to everyone's taste, but I think that it follows the current hardware trends, and the impact here is that it feels very intentional. The 9a looks like a no-nonsense phone, and it feels like it when you turn it on as well. This isn't a glamorous, top-end luxury device. It's something designed to do what you need to do and really not much else. Its display is bright, it's sharp, and once you enable that high refresh rate mode that's in the settings, it's really fluid as well. The buttons are really satisfying, the speakers are clear and loud, the camera bump is practically non-existent, so shouldn't ever get in your way or catch on your pocket when you're getting your phone in and out. At least it didn't for me, and I really like this design. And the software is really the thing that you're investing in here, what you're buying with the 9a. Gemini as an AI assistant is perhaps one of the best that you can get, as long as you pay for the Pro model, because the free one's not as good. Yeah, that's a thing. And it's super handy for looking stuff up, finding out information on a picture that you might have taken. And though it might not get everything right, and I would still say don't rely on AI for anything critical, any kind of, I don't know, medical information perhaps, it clearly is here to stay and it can be useful. AdsB in the camera lets you take self-portraits far more easily. Super res zoom gives you just a bit more reach out of a phone that doesn't have dedicated telephoto hardware. Pixel Studio is here to generate graphics from your imaginative prompts. In an era where the smart in smartphone really is the prominent piece of the puzzle, the 9A fits like a glove. Look, this phone almost sounds too good to be true, and the reality is that it's not perfect. If you're a big gamer, the SoC in here is unlikely to fulfill your needs, and you're better off going with sort of a flagship killer type phone, something with more powerful processors at the expense of maybe some camera chops and software smarts. And if you're happy buying used, there are some killer deals to be had around this price range that are just a really good sell. If you don't care too much about AI, whilst this phone is still going to be a very good option and something that I enjoy, despite not being an AI lover, it might just dampen that impact for you. Google is going really hard on artificial intelligence, whether we like it or not, and it's a big part of this phone. And also, I don't want you to think that the Pixel 10 isn't worth buying just because the 9A exists. That has a new 5x telephoto, which does make a big difference to zoomed in shots. The 9A also can't match the 10's screen brightness, with 50% more memory as well on the new model, and of course that improved Tensor G5. There might not be a drastic performance improvement, but there's certainly a bit of a jump between this and the new phones. Not to mention the much more capable Gemini model running locally if you are into AI. As someone who takes a lot of photos, doom scrolls occasionally, watches a couple of YouTube videos a day, and for someone who listens to Spotify and Pocket Cast, and is someone who isn't likely to open up Genshin Impact and play for hours at a time, the 9A really fits my lifestyle. I'm not about having the best of the best, but making the most of my money and what I have. And I think that's very much reflected in the Pixel 9A. This phone is very much for people who don't care too much about technical details and just want to have a good device in their pocket and go about their day to day. For people who don't care that the in-display fingerprint scanner is optical, not ultrasonic, or for those who don't really know what screen resolution means. For those who aren't aware that you can download an app from the Play Store and test out how powerful your phone is, the 9A is for anyone, but perhaps not everyone. And 6 months later, I think it makes more sense now than it ever really has done. For half, or even less than that, of the Pixel 10, the 9A steps out of the shadows as a fantastic deal. Guys, are you the sort of person who wants value for money above everything else? The 9A gives you that high-end Pixel experience, but without having to spend big pixel money. I think this phone makes a lot more sense than most stuff on the market, if I'm honest. Sure, for enthusiasts like you or I, it might not tick all the boxes, or really any of them sometimes. But I think as enthusiasts, we make up a very small percentage of smartphone buyers in general. And if this is Google's way of building its user base, it is a mighty fine way of going about it. I want to hear your thoughts on this device in the comments, as well as the Pixel 10 series, because I just think this overall is so much better value for money than those. But yeah, let's hear about that in the comments. And whilst you're down there actually, please do hit like if you enjoyed today's video and subscribe to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I will catch you later. Cheers.